I have been a fan of Uncharted since 2008, when I got the game bundled with my PlayStation 3 original. Ever since, I have continued to follow the series and have loved every installment in the 5 games the franchise has had in the last 13 years. However, when coming back to play the first ever Uncharted and looking at it for this review with a more critical eye, there were some problems, which brought to mind a question. Should you buy this game in 2020? Let's discuss it. Unfortunately, I do have to start this review on the negative, because when asking that question, there is an awful lot when playing this game back. It doesn't hold up in the way that you remember. First of all, the combat. So about 50% of your time playing this game is going to be in high adrenaline gun battles. The amount of times where your reticule is on the enemy and seemingly they take no damage, or you fire a shot which you know is a headshot and they take no damage, and that really isn't helpful. The unfortunate thing is the compliment I would want to give this game, which is on its AI work, also comes with a negative. Because the AI is actually incredibly good, especially for its time. It's very easy in this game for enemies to overwhelm you and to start coming after you, but when that's mixed with the fact that you can be firing at an enemy and it's not registering that you're hitting them, or you can fire a shotgun blast at point blank range and it does no damage. That is actually a definite issue with the game, because you could almost argue the AI is too good in that sense. Even on the easier setting, it's far too easy for the enemies to surround you and to get behind you and finish you off in next to no time. That makes the whole experience of playing this game actually really annoying at times. The other issue is the platforming, which is where the other 50% of your time playing this game will be. You'd expect from a company like Naughty Dog, who are responsible for games like Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter, that the platforming in this game would be top notch, right? Yeah, well, not so much. The problem with this is actually not in the platforming itself, but the actual graphical engine that they're running for the game. To explain this further, here's an example from pretty early on in the game. If you look at this wall, it's got white marks all over it. These are similar to what I've seen in the game previously and thereafter. Little white marks which subconsciously tell the player that they can climb this section, but you can't. And this happens a lot. The amount of times where I've been climbing and you think you can climb that part of a cliff face and you just plummet to your death. That's not my fault. The game unfortunately has so little variety on telling you what can be climbed and what can't. Yet again, it makes sections like this really frustrating, because you're having to guess all the time that, can I climb this? Can I not? And I'm playing on the PS4 Pro with the remastered version, and this is still an element that isn't fixed, which honestly did surprise me. The other thing that can sometimes become an issue with the platforming is the camera. Now, to make the game more cinematic, they've added this dynamic camera effect when you're platforming. This means that when you swing on a rope or whatever, the camera follows you, pans in, and it makes it really tense. But yeah, again, we have to link back to what I just stated. With the fact that you don't know always what you can and can't climb, that means essentially you are taking leaps of faith every time you're doing platforming sections because you can't see just what's off to the corner. The camera is very much glued in on the character. This really did disappoint me because I remember the platforming being a hell of a lot better than it actually was. You can always say things like, look at its age, but that's not the question I'm answering. The question I'm answering is, should you buy it today? And by today's standards, this platforming is severely dated. Now, that's not to say my full experience playing this game was completely negative. It wasn't, actually far from it. One of the best parts of this game are the set pieces that Naughty Dog have now become famous for. The car chase scene and the ending fight scene were incredible and are still a real good spectacle. Problem is, getting to those points is sometimes a bit of a slog. I think the standout parts of this game is its characters. This is our first introduction to Nate, Sully, and Elena, and this game does a great job of it. Nolan North brings a great amount of dry wit to Nathan Drake, and it really humanizes him over other exclusive characters I'd seen at that point, most notably Master Chief, and he doesn't really have any characters to speak of. Sully is a great addition as sort of the father figure to Nate, but also a con man, so gives that great juxtaposition of caring, but also you don't know what trick he's pulling at any given time.
Nate, I'm not looking for a lousy piece of tin. I'm up to my eyeballs in debt. I was really counting on this one.
Elena has a solid introduction here. I think she's a great character, but I think most of the reason why I like her is what they did with the character going into the second and third game. But that's not saying what we have here with her is bad. In fact, here are some of my favourite moments.
Whoa there, cowboy. That's for leaving me at the dock.
What the hell are you doing here?
Listen, I'm a good enough reporter to follow a couple of no-luck tomb robbers.
I don't need your bullet-riddled corpse on my conscience. Let's go.
Oh, please. You quit if you want to, but don't use me as an excuse.
Fine. It's me, okay? I am quitting. Are you coming or not?
So that's it. You're just gonna forget about the treasure and forget about Drake?
God damn it, this is not worth dying over.
Okay. Okay. Listen, either way, we have to head back to the harbor. Don't worry about it. We can argue about it later. It'll be great. Hey, you know what? Why don't I just wait here and you can, swing around and come back and pick me up?
Okay, what are you up to?
Nothing. I just want to, you know, stay here and get some more footage. I'll be safe.
All right, fine. But promise me you'll stay put. Whatever that means.
Now, judging the villains of this first game, I think they are serviceable. The lead villain, Gabriel Roman, is decent. He does an alright job of being menacing and delivering the evil lines that make you want to hate him, but I think I've been spoiled with all the other games that Naughty Dog have released ever since. For example, why does Gabriel want the treasure? I mean, apart from money, what stakes does he have in finding this treasure? Now, the secondary villain, Eddie, is actually really good. I think he's the best villain of the game. Yeah, he can act overly cartoony at times, but he does have a distinct personality.
That's right, you ugly kunyuk! Don't mess with Eddie Raja!
Now, you may be typing in the comments stating that I'm looking too much into this, but the thing is, I think even the creators believe their villains are more developed than they actually are. Because it even tries to pull the rug out from under you at the very end, and it was Roman's henchman all along who was behind it. Yeah, I said Roman's henchman. That's because I can't remember who this character's name is. Now, I know this has looked like I really hate this game, and I've been making out that it is one of the worst games in the world. Actually, far from it. I do really enjoy this game, and I do think that it is one of the best titles on the PlayStation 3. If you look at it from the standpoint of when it first came out in 2007, the game is nothing short of a masterpiece. If you look at other Naughty Dog titles as well, there's so much that this game introduces. Clothes getting wet when touching water, the lighting effects and the graphics for the time were revolutionary. This focus on a linear narrative and focus on characters and character interaction is something that Naughty Dog have continued to this day, and it all started here from Uncharted 1. But everyone else has talked about that. I'm here to answer the question that is right down there in the title. Should you buy Uncharted Drake's Fortune in 2020? And unfortunately, no. And that pains me to say, because if it wasn't for this game, I probably wouldn't be a gamer. This is what kickstarted it all off for me. I started playing games thanks to Uncharted Drake's Fortune. But since then, 13 years later, games have evolved so far past this game, and I can't look back at it in the same way I used to, because I found myself getting far too annoyed at its bugs and issues it still has today. Do I think Drake's Fortune is a bad game? No. But do I think it holds up today? No. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't buy the Nathan Drake collection. There are 2 other games that we've got to talk about, and I think that is where this franchise takes its stride. I look forward to discussing that with you next time, and until then, thank you for watching.